All right, we are back with another episode of Real Talk. Too much going on in the sports world right now, entertainment world, to not just have one pod this week. We're bringing you two. We already did WrestleMania yesterday, but it's your usual duo here. Jeff, Brad. Brad, how are you, man?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good, dude. Ready to talk draft prep. We've been talking about doing draft prep for weeks now, and we're here. And I'm just ready for the draft to be here.
Yeah, I'm always excited for the draft. It's everyone knows I geek out over it a little bit. I love making mock drafts and then, all the predictions and watching draft night. It's always a big thing for me. I really enjoy it.
Yeah. What we're gonna do today is we're gonna go 1 through 16. We're not gonna do a draft, so to speak. We're gonna save that for a couple more weeks. But we're gonna do 1 to 16, and we're just gonna kind of talk about who makes sense at that location, at that team, in that spot. If we consider the team to be moving up or down, and just kind of go from there. Just give a number of players that could potentially be there. In a
Yeah.
few weeks, we will do an actual mock draft where Brad and I will select. I will be the odds, he will be the evens, and we will do the entire first round. But as of right now, we're just gonna do top 16, what makes sense, and go from there.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and start off here. I mean, obviously, this is the easiest one. The Jacksonville Jaguars. It's not going to get any easier than this. They're going to be taking Trevor Lawrence, but what other spots make sense for them? I mean, I think they need a lot of things. They won one game, you know, and a team that's currently sitting at $40 million in cap space, and they're not spending it. I don't foresee them being great this year. I do think Trevor Lawrence goes to them. I don't think it's even questionable. But they need other things too. They need tackles. They need guards. They need cornerbacks. I don't know how much to say here besides the fact that they're going to take Trevor, but they need a
Yeah.
lot of things.
Yeah, they have 3 picks inside the top 35, I believe. I believe they have the 35th pick, 25th pick, and the first. This will, I mean, I know we're not doing mocks, but we all know this is Trevor Lawrence. I really think that they're with Trevor's ability to move. They already have a good running back, breakout rookie last year. Excuse me, good pieces on offense. Maybe they could look offensive line to protect Lawrence, but I think this is more or less defense. I think they need playmakers on defense as they go further in the draft.
Yeah, it'll be a lot more suitable to talk about who they're taking it at 25.
Right? Yeah.
And I know we won't get to this, but they also draft 33 too. That would be an interesting
33.
spot.
That's it.
Yeah,
Okay.
an interesting spot to draft. But I mean, Trevor Lawrence is going number one. Not a whole lot more time needs to be spent on that. Jets at 2. They're probably definitely taking a quarterback.
Probably.
They just traded Sam Darnold. It's pretty much official. They're going to take one. We're not exactly sure who. I think a
Yeah,
lot of
we
people
are.
assume it's going to be Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
I'm not so necessarily 100% on it. I think it's 80%, maybe even 90%. But I still live that slim chance that they change it on draft day. You know that a couple of years ago, if we remember correctly, the Browns, it was pretty much a draft day decision. They were taking Baker. You never know. You just never know.
Yeah. Quarterback first and foremost, and it's easy to say that at 2, especially with them getting rid of Darnold. But I don't think there is one position on this team that they don't need. Again, this is another team that has multiple first round picks this year. They pick again at 23 and 32. So, late Thursday night and late Friday night, we're going to hear a lot of Jets and Jaguars. And, that's the reason they were the worst 2 teams in the league last year, at least record wise. So I like to see the Jets get a quarterback. And then, me personally, I like to see him either protect them or give him weapons. So I expect both offensive selections in the first round for the Jets.
Yeah, I do see them going quarterback here. That's pretty much a given, and I'm with you. I'm interested to see what they do with their second pick. Just like the Jaguars, it'll be more fun to assess that pick of what they're going to take,
Yeah.
because they do need a number of things, and it'll be interesting to see if they trade up, trade down, try to acquire more, or what they end up doing with that. Hopefully, this will get a little better here in a minute. But third team is almost definitely going to be taking a quarterback. Go ahead.
No. You go to third team. You're right.
The third team is almost definitely going to be taking a quarterback too. It's the San Francisco 49ers, who just recently acquired the pick from the Miami Dolphins. Uh, it a lot of rumors out there. A lot of rumors out there that it's going to be Mac Jones. There's some people that think it's going to be Trey Lance. Almost nobody is tying Justin Fields to them. It's pretty
This
much
is a
Lance.
true coin flip, though. I don't know who they're taking here. I think
Yeah,
it is a quarterback, but
they're 100% taking a QB at this point because you don't trade up to 3 and not take him unless no, they're
Jamar
taking a
Chase.
QB.
That's the fun part of these drafts. No one knows. I think it's a QB2. I don't have the 2 years in front of me. It's a shame, but there's only been twice in NFL history that the first three picks have all been quarterbacks. I know 1 year the only name I recognized was Jim Plunkett. It was the year he was one of the three.
He
And
was
the other one
drafted
was
with
the year,
Patriots.
and the other year was the year Donovan McNabb was drafted. He was the only name I recognized out of those three. So it's not very often that you see quarterback, quarterback, quarterback. We always see it in the top two, sure,
Yeah,
but yeah, this could be another year, third time ever that three go in the first three picks. I think everyone believes that to be the case.
but let's pretend they do something crazy and they pull a Falcons from a couple years ago and trade into the top 5 to draft a take a wide receiver or somebody else special. Do you think Jamar Chase has a chance going 3?
Um, of course he has a chance, but it would be real close. I believe they might want to go double tight end and go Kyle Pitts with George Kittle. That would be
That
a
fits their
matchup
offense too.
nightmare. Yeah, because Kyle Pitts, you could almost list him at wide receiver. He's
He has
very
a wide
athletic and that
receiver body that's just big.
right. So if you look at like their team in the red zone with how well they run off scheme, to be able to have George Kittle and Kyle Pitts,
Yeah.
it's just that seems kind of crazy. But I mean, Kyle Pitts is that good.
Yeah, I mean, they don't obviously need a tight end, but a tight end makes sense for what they could do offensively with how they scheme zone reads and stuff like that, and play action pass with tight ends is always the move.
With wide receiver too, Brandon Ayuk had a really good rookie year last year, and Marquise Goodwin comes back after missing the year from COVID. So George Kittle just had an injury. I'm not saying he's injury prone, but it could be another thing where they just want depth at the position because when
Mm-hmm.
Kittle went down, tight end disappeared from the roster.
Yeah, I'm very excited for both Pitts and Chase this year. Wherever they land is going to be an absolute home run. Because they're just too good. I really do believe that. I don't think these are just overhyped players. I think they're just truly special players that are coming in.
Yeah, that's what people are saying from everything I'm listening is that they don't need to accumulate high picks. They're saving all their money for all the studs they've already drafted. So this is their
Yeah.
last chance to have the ability to trade into the top five. Do they want Mac Jones, who maybe they think is more I think it's Trey Lance. I really think it's Trey Lance. I if I was a betting man, I would put it on Trey Lance being the third pick.
Okay. Let's go here to number 4. Currently belongs to the Atlanta Falcons. They have basically accepted phone calls for trading down. They're very open to trading down. But let's take it as it is right now. Sitting at 4, I think they could use a multitude of things. Obviously, they have Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley. I don't know how much longer Julio Jones is in a Falcon uniform, but maybe if they were to trade down, maybe they would explore receiver. I can't see them taking a receiver this high. I think offensive line makes sense. Corner, obviously, you wouldn't take a corner at number 4, which leads me to believe they would trade down as well. For some weird reason, Micah
Parsons.
Yeah, Micah
Yeah.
Parsons. So Micah Parsons falling in the draft all of a sudden. I almost wonder if they're stuck at 4, maybe they take Parsons here because that fits a need.
I think they would like to go edge rusher over middle linebacker,
But
but I do
you can't take an edge at 4.
no. But the thing is at this point you have Arthur Smith now. You like Matt Ryan for 2 to 3 more years, but he can't move. Panay Sewell would be the pick here at 4. If they didn't trade back, which we're assuming they're going to stay here, which I think we both think these guys could be movers on draft day, if not beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
But it would have to be Panay Sewell. You pick the big statue on the left side protect Matt Ryan, because if Matt Ryan goes down, your team has zero chance of winning. I
Yeah, I
think
agree.
it's gotta be offensive linemen here.
Yeah. Moving on to 5, it belongs currently to the Cincinnati Bengals, and I do believe that there's a percentage on this pick. I think it's 80% Penei Sewell. I do believe that there is a chance. And I know you've ruled it out, but there is a 20% to maybe even higher that Jamar Chase is paired with his good buddy Joe Burrow. It makes a ton of sense for longevity of this team.
If Penei Sewell is there, he's a Bengal. However, if Penei Sewell is taken at 4, and it's between Rashawn Slater and Jamar Chase. Rashawn Slater's a good left tackle, but can move around the line. He's very versatile, which would help the Bengals tremendously.
Yeah.
But you're already having Joe Burrow throw 60 times a game. You have T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd. You had Jamar Chase, and I mean, goodness me, you just run him out of the shotgun all the time. The scheme goes way past all that. But Jamar Chase, if he doesn't go to the Bengals, he's not making it very much farther. I don't think he falls.
In my opinion, Jamar Chase is the Bengals' backup plan, and it's a fantastic one. Is that fair?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a
absolutely.
Fantastic backup plan.
When you're at 5 and don't need a quarterback, and at least 3 of the picks in front of you are quarterback, that's a wonderful thing. Because if your guys are Jamar Chase, Penei Sewell, you're getting one of those two regardless. So they're kind of spoiled for choice at 5.
Really, hypothetically speaking, if the Falcons trade out, the Broncos, the Patriots, amongst other teams, maybe a surprise team, come in and go into 4, then take a quarterback. 4 quarterbacks in the first 4 picks, right? Hypothetical. The Bengals would get the pick of the litter of Penei Sewell, Jamar Chase, and Dennis Pitts.
Kyle Pitts. Not the time for the Ravens.
Wow. Yeah, thank you. Kyle. Dennis Pitta. Do you remember him?
Good guy. He's a good guy.
Yeah. What a wild. That might go down as an NFL history of like one of the greatest options ever.
I think it's worth noting they just got an incredible amount of picks. The Lions could move from 7 to 5 for Jamar Chase, which would make the decision really easy for the Bengals to take an offensive lineman. But I believe everyone's under the impression, including myself, that the Lions want a wide receiver. For Jared Goff, he needs a weapon. They lost Kenny Galladay. If you're at 7 and the Falcons call you, or you call the Falcons, and you're maybe willing to give up the 7th and one of those future first rounders to move up 3 spots to 4 to take Jamar Chase, I could see that happening for the Detroit Lions, because I'm sure they're under the impression he's not making it past the Bengals and Dolphins.
Jamar?
Yeah, I think Jamar would.
If he did, that would be
robbery.
I don't know what the Dolphins would be. Let's move into the Dolphins. Yeah. So they have the 6th pick. They acquired it from the Eagles, okay, after moving around a little bit. They don't need much. They're actually a really good football team. I would argue they need a quarterback, but they're not going to take one. We know that now. They're sold on Tua, at least for this coming season. So what are you going to do? You're going to go get him a weapon. I would assume it'd be Chase. But hypothetically speaking, they don't. Now what?
If Chase is gone, I think this is either Waddle or Devontae Smith.
No. We're assuming they don't take a wide receiver. That's what I was going.
Don't. Okay. Maybe on defense they could take an edge rusher, but I still think they're looking for, if they're not taking a wide receiver, possibly a running back to pair with Myles Gaskins. I think it's got to be either an edge rusher or an offensive weapon.
Or trade out.
I don't think they trade out, since they traded out of 3 and then traded back up to 6. Actually, you know what? If they're not going wide receiver, this could be Rashawn Slater if he's still there. A versatile offensive lineman.
Yeah.
It's too high for one of the interior guys. I don't think they're able to go this high. It could be interior offensive line. It's too high. 6 is too high for those guys. maybe Elijah Vera Tucker. That would be a huge reach, but I think it would be Rashawn Slater, a versatile offensive line. I think they could use the help on the offensive line to protect Tua.
Somebody reaches every year in the draft. The Dolphins reached for Teddy Ginn several years back. People reach in the draft. I'm not saying it's a good analogy. I'm just saying it happens.
Oh, no, I agree. I know what you're
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah. Come to 7. Lots of options for Detroit here. Detroit Lions would be on the clock at 7, hypothetically. Quarterback's an option. I agree with you. I think wide receiver is the number 1 option. Micah Parsons, linebackers, they need a lot. They really do.
I think this team needs a weapon. You've got to justify the Jared Goff trade. You got to get weapons for Jared. Because if Jared Goff fails, Dan Campbell loses his job.
Almost immediately, yeah.
Yeah, so he needs weapons. This has got if Chase is gone, I think this is a Jalen Waddle spot. I think there's a good spot for him out of Alabama. I think he's got more shelf life than Devontae Smith. Personally, I could be wrong. And I also think this is a spot where you talk about reaching. There's plenty of good ones. I don't know if they're top 10 good, but there is 4 high quality cornerbacks in this draft. This could be a Patrick Surtain or a Caleb Fairley type of pick, but I still think.
Do they go 2 years in a row of taking a corner? They just took Jeff Okuda last year at 5, right?
I still think they take wide receiver because if we're looking at Jags, Jets, 49ers, Falcons, Bengals, Dolphins, Lions, I believe the first 7 picks are going to be offensive players, whether they're linemen or skill position or quarterbacks. I don't think we see a defensive player taken yet. I think they go wide receiver. The best one available on their board. Who that is, I don't know. A lot of people, I haven't brought up his name. Devontae Smith is the 3rd wide receiver on my board. Personally, not that I'm
behind Waddle.
Behind Waddle.
Okay.
Personally.
Yeah. I have him above Waddle, but it's close. I think they're both very good.
Depends on what you want. Get to see enough of Waddle last year.
Yeah. Coming in at number 8 would be, as of right now, the Carolina Panthers. They just recently acquired Sam Darnold. This team has weapons, so I don't think they're taking a quarterback now. I would almost assume they're going to at least give Darnold a year, right? Would you agree? They're out on a quarterback. Okay, glad we agree on that. So at this point, if for some crazy reason Pitts is still available, I think it would be a lock to take him.
I think that's too much of a dream scenario. Yes,
I don't think it is. We just listed it off. It could be. So you got quarterback. Then you got the Falcons. They're potentially on Pitts or trade out or something else. The person that would trade in wouldn't take Pitts. Would you agree?
The Dolphins would take Pitts.
We just said that they would probably take Chase.
Well, right, Chase. But I'm assuming these guys are going to be picked in some sort of order. I don't see either Chase or Pitts making it to 9. Okay. But if he is there.
Let me do a quick mock. Lawrence, Wilson, Lance. Team trades up. Let's say it's the freaking Patriots, just for argument's sake. Justin Fields, okay? Or Mac Jones, whoever. Those 4 quarterbacks are gone. Now you got the Bengals. They take Sewell, Penei Sewell, okay? Then you have the Dolphins. They take Jamar Chase. Now, the Lions, they need a wide receiver. They take Waddle. Pitts is that. You take Pitts over Waddle if you're the Lions. They don't really need a tight end.
Pass catcher. Kyle Pitts and Jamar Chase are the best too. And if you already have T.J. Hawkinson to protect Jared Goff, who worked well in 2 tight end sets. Actually, no, that's not true. Jared Goff works best in 3 wide. Jared Goff, his best statistics are with 3 wide. God, that would be crazy.
If you're calling me crazy, but I just mapped you out a scenario that he falls.
And I concede defeat. If Pitts is there, my lord. Sam Darnold went from the Jets to Pitts, Robbie. Well, they don't have Curtis Samuel either.
At that point, who cares? You have Christian McCaffrey.
They would be a weapon on the perimeter.
Yeah. They have Robbie Anderson, and they have DJ Moore. They're all right on the perimeter.
DJ Moore, that's what I was forgetting about.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts would be man alive.
If not Pitts, because obviously you think that's a stretch. I don't think it's a stretch, but
it could happen. It could happen.
Yeah. If Pitts or Chase isn't there, which I don't think they would be, but if they're not, I think that Carolina would either go, gosh,
This
they replace Luke Kuechly with Micah Parsons.
That's not a
Go
bad
defense
pick.
again. For
Yeah.
their 9th straight draft pick, they take another defensive player.
See, when you mapped out your things for Kyle Pitts to be there, I still think you've got to now protect him. I think you got to go all. I think that's Rashawn Slater. And in this quick mock that I just,
I'm good with Slater too. There, yeah, I'm good with Slater too.
I think is a pick. You bring in Darnold. You got to let your defense try and come together for a year, and they improved as the season went on. You got to protect Sam Darnold. Get a guy who can play both tackles, even a little bit of guard from Northwestern, Rashawn Slater. However, just moving right along, as they say in the business.
Yeah.
Going to number 9, the Broncos are still here if they didn't trade up.
Yep.
This is where the first defensive player comes out in Micah Parsons. I don't think Micah Parsons makes it past the Broncos. I think with Justin Simmons and Kyle Fuller, Von Miller, and Bradley Chubb, you need that guy in the middle. Micah Parsons is your captain on defense for the next 8 years, your play caller, your defensive captain and leader. I think Micah Parsons is a bread and butter fit for the Broncos.
Broncos need a lot. They need a quarterback. They need a linebacker. They also need another corner to pair with Fuller.
Can't make that jump yet. I'm not so sure. He had a ton of injuries at wide receiver last year.
Drew Lock?
Yeah.
I actually agree with you, but I don't think the Broncos agree with us. I agree with you.
I hear.
Shockingly, I actually picked Drew Lock to be like a dark horse MVP on our bold predictions.
A lot of people had him as like a big time sleeper pick in fantasy football too. A lot of people were looking for Lock.
And don't sleep on them too. He played with 2 rookie wide receivers last year. His best receiver was out for the year. So they return.
Noah Fant missed some time.
What's that?
Even Noah Fant missed some time.
Yeah, so he returns 4 skill players that are very good. He returns Melvin Gordon. I could honestly, I almost agree with you. I think they go defense here. They're either Parsons or Patrick Surtain, or J.C. Horn potentially off the board here. I think J.C. Horn might actually be the best corner in the draft.
He's a sleeper for sure, but I think most boards have him at the 3rd.
Yeah. I just I like his size, 6'1", 205, but I don't know. I just Broncos need a lot. They're a wild card in my opinion. I could see them staying put, or I could see them trade up. They trade up, they're going QB. If they stay put, I don't think they do.
Good defense.
Defense, yeah. America's team. Round 1, pick 10, Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys. They're going corner here, right?
Yeah, I think we can be in agreement. We just talked about it. This is there's 4 deep in cornerbacks who should go in the first round. Will it be Jace Horn? Will it be Caleb Fairley? I believe it'll be Patrick Surtain out of Alabama. But this is a corner. Best available corner, turn in the ballot. I don't know what would have to drop for them to not go cornerback here.
I'm not going to try and sit here and map out every situation where a star player falls to them, but last year a star player fell to them and they ignored need and took them.
And that's why they were last in their division.
They would do it again. They would do it again.
For who?
Chase, Pitts. Not that again. I don't think that. Here's why I say Chase could potentially fall. So let's say the Dolphins don't like Chase; they like Waddle. So Penei Sewell goes to the Bengals. Dolphins take Waddle instead of Chase. Okay. The Lions actually don't take Chase; they take Pitts. Okay. Then the Panthers take Slater. They want to protect. They have enough outside help. Okay. Broncos take a QB. Now all of a sudden, Jamar Chase lands to you. They're not taking a 4th wide receiver.
Jamar Chase tore his ACL working out today. He still wouldn't fall to number 10. If he tore his ACL today in workouts, he wouldn't fall to 10.
I'm just saying I could see a star. I'm not saying Jamar Chase in general. I'm saying a player could fall to them and they would do something stupid. They're that kind of team. They're not led by a real GM. So you can't even sit here and argue. They're not guaranteed to take a corner just because they need one. They're not.
Right.
I don't know.
I still think it will be Patrick Surtain, but corner. I think corner's the.
I think they're taking a
Number one.
corner too. I think they're taking a corner too. I'm just saying, don't hold it against them if they do something crazy.
Right.
Number 11, Giants, division rival here. We got actually a couple of NFC West or NFC North NFC East teams in a row here. Giants. Gosh, they're returning Daniel Jones at least for this year. Saquon Barkley. They got help me out. They just signed Kenny Galladay. They have Slayton. Slayton. And they have Evan Ingram and Kyle Rudolph. They're set offensively for the most part. They could go lineman, especially if potentially if Slater were to fall here. I don't think he would, but if Slater falls here, I think they stock up on linemen. You can never get too many.
I think this is where the first edge rusher comes off the board. Gregory Rousseau out of Miami. I think they need a pass rusher. They need to bolster that defense a little bit. Like you said, if you're with Daniel Jones, you have all the offense. They've drafted offensive line the last 2 years. You've got to start giving help to defense, which it was a top 10 defense. Could a good pass rusher turn it into a top 5 defense, a rookie that can come in and maybe get 7 or 8 sacks?
Yeah.
I like the edge rusher here for them.
Edge rusher makes sense for them. They actually have a pretty decent defensive line. So if for some reason Micah Parsons were to fall to 11, a lot of people have him going into mid-teens. That would definitely make sense for them.
Outside linebacker Zaven Collins from Tulsa would be a good pick here if they need a cut because they play 4-3.
Kwity Paye on an edge rush makes sense for them if they're trying to do something there. Giants could use a lot of things. They could also trade down because I do believe that they're a team that's been hampered by injuries, and because they were able to bring in Kenny Galladay, I could see them potentially trading down with a team that is trying to do something. If New England maybe moves from 15 to 11, there's a few teams. Maybe the Raiders try and move up. I could see the Giants moving out, not out of the first round, just back. They're an interesting team. Another NFC East. This one was acquired by the Dolphins. It's the pick 12 Eagles. Corner here. That's what I'm feeling.
I like wide receiver here, but if
wide receiver makes sense too.
I think they go wide receiver. They need weapons to throw to. However, if they don't, if how we have it, if only one corner's gone, they could definitely go Caleb Fairley or Jace Horn here to get a corner. But yeah, I like Devontae Smith, Heisman Trophy winner. I personally think he'll be the third wide receiver off the board, but only, third wide receiver, but still number 12 overall. I think he goes to the Eagles.
Yeah, this is an interesting slot for them.
I think they like the speed and space when you have Jalen Reagor, Devontae Smith, Jalen Hurts, Miles Sanders. I think they're looking to be a fast, spread it out team.
Yeah, the thing that's weird about this is they traded back, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, they were they drafting? They were drafting at 6?
Yeah, they traded back because I believe 2 things. One, they were under the impression that they're not going to get a top quarterback that they want. 2, they don't believe they're going to get Jamar Chase because I guess word in the league is the Bengals are that set on him for Joe Burrow. And 3, they get another first rounder out of it next year. And if Carson plays 75% of the season, they'll have 3 first rounders next year. I know this team won a Super Bowl, 4 years ago, but they are so much farther away than people would like to admit. I think it was smart to stock up on the draft picks.
Yeah, no. Best available here for sure. That's why I could see it being literally anyone. Almost anyone. Go ahead.
I think it's going to be outside. It's either going to be corner or wide receiver. Matchup.
If I was them, I would 100% try to make sure it's an offensive piece to give Jalen Hurts every bit of a chance to succeed. See what you have in him. Because you don't want to enter next year with 3 first-round picks not knowing who your quarterback is. Either if you don't know who it is, it's because you're going to draft him. You know what I mean? get him an offensive piece here. That's how I would move it.
Yeah.
13. You got the Chargers. For me, this is easy. It's offensive line. But who's the player? Maybe Dershaw.
Well, they who is the offensive
Verta Tucker.
Turner was it who they got last year?
Trey Turner.
Yeah, he's a tackle, right?
They just cut him.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's two options here. I think they either go edge rusher, or not edge rusher, but interior defensive line, because they've got Gordon and Bosa. But I do think it's offensive line here. I think this could be a very Elijah Vera Tucker from USC.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll make it past this team if they're there. Something would really have to fall to him for them to not go interior offensive line.
Yeah, you got Alabama's Leatherwood as well, potentially, if they were to. You never know with the run of linemen how linemen then project up, or line of any player really. If Slater and Swole are both off, which they presumably would be at this point. At that point, you're overdrafting linemen to try and bring them up. But I for me, it's protect Justin Herbert.
Got to. Have to.
Yeah. 14, you got the Minnesota Vikings. For me, this one is edge. Okay, they did go out and sign one in free agency, but they were terrible with their pass rush last year. They couldn't get pressure on anybody. For me, it's a defensive player. If Micah Parsons is still here, wow, holy crap, that makes a ton of sense. But I don't want to keep just throwing his name out for every.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to get to there. I think there's a reason we keep throwing out his name if he's going sooner than this. But defense, I agree. I think it's either edge rusher or one of the top 3 corners. It all depends on who's higher on their big board. Is it a Kwity Paye? Is it a Gregory Rousseau? Is it a Jace Horn? What do they see? You got to stop Devontae Adams. If the Lions draft Jamar Chase, you got to have good corners when you're playing Aaron Rodgers twice a year. So I think it's either edge or corner. Defensive pick for sure, though.
Yeah. Next up, my beloved New England Patriots at pick 15. There's a lot of need here. Shockingly, one of them isn't tight end. No. It has been for a couple of years, but it's not tight end now. They signed a couple. Quarterback for sure, but I don't think they take him at 15. I'll say that right now. If New England is stuck at 15, they're not taking a QB. They're going to live with what they got. They'll draft one later or whatever it is. I think they either move up or they don't draft one.
Right.
If it's at 15, I could see edge rusher, linebacker, offensive line.
If one of the top 3 receivers fall this far, if somehow Waddle or Smith fall to 15, they're going to take them.
Yeah.
But it would have to be one of those top 3.
I don't think one of those 3 is falling that far, but then again, CeeDee Lamb fell last year, and we didn't think 18. He would. So, yeah. So it's not unheard of. Okay.
Jalen Reagor went over Justin Jefferson last year.
Yeah. Reagor was hurt a lot, so we can't 100%. Justin Jefferson was better. Yeah, you're right. Watch out for what's his face? The Purdue wide receiver.
I don't know. Let's see if I can find
something more. Minnesota has a wide receiver. It's Rondell Moore from Purdue. Short-lived gets a ton of Tyreek Hill comps.
You've got Kadarius Toney from Florida, who's a multiverse player, running back, wide receiver, and also Terrace Marshall Jr., another LSU product, but he's a big body, a 6'4" guy. But we don't know. Do they still believe in N'Keal Harry over there in New England? We don't know.
I don't think they do, but I also don't think that Bill Belichick believes in his ability to draft a first-round wide receiver, so I don't believe that would come unless it's one of your 3 guys. Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase isn't falling to 15, so it's not even bringing his name up. But I could see wide receiver. I wouldn't bet on it, though. I don't believe that. Bill Belichick just went out and signed all the players that he can't get.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, We're wrapping her up here. It's pick 16. It's the Arizona Cardinals.
If a top 3 corner is not there, if Jace Horn, Patrick Surtain, and Farley have all been picked, I believe this is where we see Najee Harris. I think they got rid of Kenyon Drake. He went to the Raiders. They traded David Johnson 2 years ago. They've got some guys here and there, but you've got Kyler Murray. You give him Najee Harris. You already added AJ Green to DeAndre Hopkins and Christian Kirk. If you're not going to replace Patrick Peterson with a corner, I think you've got to continue to help Kyler. And he hasn't had a great running game. He's been a good running back on his own with his own legs. But they saw what happened when his shoulder started to hurt towards the end of the year. They kind of fell apart. I really like Najee Harris to the Arizona Cardinals here at 16.
You shocked me with that one. I wasn't ready for that. But I absolutely love it.
Yeah, who's the running back on their roster right now? Who would start if they didn't draft one? I don't even know their name.
No idea. Well, their every down back last year was Kenyon Drake. He is now at the Raiders.
Right, yeah. And there was a guy he rotated with who played
Chase Edmonds.
Maybe.
He's not getting 300 carries
right.
this year.
I think Najee Harris is perfect for Lincoln Riley. He can catch out of the backfield too.
He is perfect. I 100% agree with you. Is 16 too high for a running back in today's day and age?
Not if it's Najee Harris. He can catch and run, and he's the top running back at 16. I don't know how you pass on him. I mean, maybe if Elijah Vera Tucker's still there and no one's taking a guard.
Yeah.
Bolster the interior of the line, but gosh, you'd hate to see a player like Najee Harris continue to fall just because he's listed at running back. I mean, he's just what do you have, 32 touchdowns last year?
Something stupid.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah. Something stupid.
5. Didn't you have 5 in a playoff game?
I just think that they take corner first, which you already said you agreed with. But if the top 3 are gone, then I think they can still protect him.
What's the grade on Asante Samuel Jr.? He's the 4th, who should probably go in the first round.
It'll be late first round if he does. So they could potentially trade down, okay? And then with that extra pick, they move back up to take Najee Harris. We're talking a lot of hypotheticals here.
But if they're talking about trading back and then trading up for him, just take the player when you got him. Don't risk it if you like him that much,
Yeah, you know what? I mean, of every team we're going to talk about, even we're done now, but even next week, not a lot of teams need a starting running back, but Arizona Cardinals do. And what you just said makes a lot of sense.
If you're the Arizona Cardinals, you could say is running back at 16 too high. I believe Lincoln Riley in that offense, they could be like, I can't believe Najee fell to 16. After what he did in college and what he's doing his rookie year, we could turn around and be like, geez, Pete, how did he fall to 16? How was a running back not in the top 10 here after what he did? So I think Najee Harris would be a good pickup here.
Yeah. No, I think I'm with you. Well, that's 1 through 16. We didn't do, obviously we're not going to get too much into trades or whatever not, but hopefully did it justice. Next week we'll go 17 through 32. A lot of good teams still to come. We'll give a quick rundown of those. You got the Raiders, the Dolphins, Washington football team, Chicago Bears, the Indianapolis Colts. You got the Titans. You got the Jets again that they acquired from the Seahawks. You got the Steelers at 24. You got the Jags that they acquired from the Rams. You have the Browns at 26, the Ravens at 27, 28 is the Saints, 29 is the Packers, and then the last couple you got the Bills, the Chiefs, and then the reigning Super Bowl champions, Tampa Bay.
After the addition of the playoff teams, 19 up are all playoff teams. These are teams who are trying to make the playoffs again, and traditionally at least four teams that made the playoffs will miss. So can these teams reload? We'll see. I mean, it's hard to pick out needs on teams that made the playoffs, but we also got to see what their downfall was once they got there. So
yeah, for sure. Cool. Well, that pretty much wraps it up, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed listening. We'll be back next week. We will talk more draft prep, getting ready for our much anticipated mock draft in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's exciting. I'm excited for that.
I am too. I'm excited just to steal players from you that you want to draft.
You don't even know.
Oh, I do know.
Oh,
I do know.
you,
All
you know,
right, we are
you.
out. Have a good one, guys. Later.